Good afternoon, good evening even, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Guys, this morning when I did my initial video and I was joking, saying, things are progressing by the hour, they literally are now. And, it's come to my attention that a new war front in Europe is about to be opened, and this could happen any day, literally any day now. And nobody's talking about it. Now, before we go on to that, guys, what I want to talk about is, remember how we're talking about this little gang of countries? Guys, and thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps me when you do that, guys. Just a little button for you guys, but it helps us out a lot. Remember in our previous videos, we've talked about France, Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, basically the Baltic states, and Poland in this little gang now that wants to fire weapons into Russia. Well, now Germany's joined that gang. Again, I missed that. I think this happened before, while I made that other video. More countries will join, but, we need to get a little name for this gang because, we're going to be adding so many countries onto this. It's going to take me 20 minutes just to reel off the countries. So I think on this channel, guys, what we're going to call them, I think we'll call those group of countries the Fellowship. All right. So from now on, Germany, France, Lithuania, Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, and Poland, and anyone else who joins them, I'm just going to call them the Fellowship, guys, all right? Because it's just going to be easier and it's going to save some time. Before I go into this new war front, I want to read to you a YouGov statistic that came out on the 1st of February in 2024. I'll put the link in the description to this video. But basically, there was a poll done in the UK in I guess before February, but it was announced then on the 1st of February 2024, that, most Britons believe that World War III is likely to break out in the next 5 to 10 years. Now, this was a poll that was released in February 2024. From February to where we are now, where if you've been following this channel, you're probably under the illusion that, well, not illusion, you're probably under the impression that we're not even looking like a year, we're looking at like months now rather than years. So it just shows you how things escalate so quickly in the space of a couple of months. And now we've got this new war front that's about to open up, which I'll come on to in a minute. But guys, things are escalating so fast at the moment, we kind of lose track of what's recently happened, because the new thing that's just happened, kind of like, you're like, oh, right, wow, that's the new thing now. And you forget all this other stuff that's been happening. I can remember, well, that kind of segues into the new war front. So the new war front that's about to open, just to qualify this, I got this information from a few places. First, the initial place was from my friend's wife who had to flee Ukraine back in 2022. She's now with the kids, she's in Poland, and they're staying there. And that's where I initially got this from. And then I started to think, there's a lot of people in Ukraine who've not seen their family for like 2 years now. And it doesn't look like there's any sign that, families and flights and normality is going to resume anytime soon. It just looks like it's going from darker to darker. So she was saying that that Poland are looking like there's going to be a new war front open up, and it's going to come on the Belarusian border. And the Polish are really concerned right now that a mass wave of migrants are going to start coming in, are going to start flooding the border like they did in, it seems like it was forever ago, but like I think last year maybe, there was loads of migrants trying to get over the Belarus-Poland border. And that's what they're really worried about at the moment. So, remember, this comes days after one of the Polish border guard was stabbed at the border by a migrant trying to get in. So these people are trying to get in. Obviously, they're obviously using force. They're obviously using some sort of tactics. They're being told to go there, and all this stuff looks like it's going to be happening very soon on the Polish border. Poland have started to reinforce the border. They've reinstated a 200-meter buffer zone. So now there's the border. No one's allowed 200 meters from it. From what I can gather, that's on the Polish side, obviously. So things are getting wild out there. Now, it makes perfect sense for Russia to use Belarus in this way, because if Belarus enters the war officially, with tanks, guns, trucks, logistics, all that sort of stuff, then Belarus itself becomes a target. Now, if Belarus says, "Oh no, we're not involved," and just does these, I guess you can't call these soft war. This would be like war light or something. But if Belarus is just facilitating these things, moving all this sort of stuff, trying to push it over the border, because then obviously Poland has to commit troops to the border, because they don't want these migrants coming into their country. Now, this comes days after, again, Putin visited Belarus. Why did he visit Belarus? Well, we can only speculate, but these sort of things will never be written down. It'll never be, it'll never be documented. But that's what it's looking like. It's going to happen any day now on the ground. It's got this like new war front's about to open up. Excuse me. So let's not forget, Vladimir Putin and Russia are very active in Africa at the moment. They're very, where have they just they've just opened up a new solar panel somewhere in Africa, and they're in lots of these mining places, Congo, all sorts of places. So they're doing lots of work in Africa. Now, these migrants that come over, I was listening to some of the migrants that had been arrested on the Polish border side, and they were saying, this is, I'll if I can find the links, I'll put them in the bio. The migrants that were saying who'd been arrested by the Polish, they were saying that no, they just were told to get on aeroplanes. They were told they're going to Europe and they were going to be living in Europe. They landed in Belarus. They were shipped straight to the border, and they were told to push over the border. So that's the reality of what's been happening. If we take this guy's account at gospel, what you'll find when you're watching these, like in the UK as well, you'll see it as well, or wherever you look. If you look at these masses of humans or whatever, and they're protesting, they're wanting to do X, Y, and Z. They're mostly peaceful, and they are, because humans are, unless they're under direct, unless there's a reason for them to be, angry and for them to get aggressive, they don't tend to just. You don't wake up in the morning and go, "Argh." We don't. So unless there's a reason for this, we kind of don't progress that extra step towards violence. So what you'll find, and especially when I was watching the Belarus-Poland border issue part 1, when I was watching that, what you'll find you have a lot of these so-called migrants, and then you'll have 1 or 2 ringleaders, and they're the guys with the faces covered. They're going forwards, they're cutting the wire, they're really pushing forwards, and then once there's a gap in the fence, those guys will come out and they'll tell the other guys to go in. So if you look at the next time you're seeing these actions, and again, you can see this in the UK, you'll see when these big protests start, people are usually peaceful, and then there'll be a few in the crowd who'll start things up. They're called agent provocateurs. They'll start a crowd going, they'll whip the crowd into a frenzy, they'll start throwing things, they'll set things on fire, and then once that's happened, you'll reach a critical mass, and then everybody just goes crackers. So that's the way that these things start, and that's the way that these things happen. So you can put your own agents in there. Excuse me. You can put, the Russians, the Belarusians can put Tatushkas in there. Tatushka it's a Russian word for like agent provocateur, I guess. I think if anybody speaks Russian and I'm totally getting that translation wrong, please let me know. But as I understand, a Tatushka is like somebody like a thug who operates in a crowd or something. It's hard. I don't think there's a direct translation. So you get these special Tatushkas who are operating in the crowds. They then rouse the crowds up, they back off, and the main crowd goes through. And then on paper, it's very hard to say that these guys are not immigrants. It's very hard to say that these guys are, acting on behalf of whatever nation. And that is the new age of warfare that we're heading towards. Now, if these guys were allowed into Poland, would they become saboteurs? Would they, are they just looking for a peaceful life? We don't know, but what we do know is that Poland doesn't want them to come through the Belarusian border. Poland is taking huge steps to reinforce that border. And under no circumstances do I feel that they're going to get through. It's going to be really interesting what happens on that border in the next coming days, weeks. Guys, it may even be hours the way things are moving. But yeah, really interesting what's going to happen on that Belarus-Poland border. And again, if somebody opens fire and one of these migrants then becomes injured or even worse, how's the international community then going to look at Poland? What are the ramifications for that border? You know, the condemnation, all the rest of it. It's all these 4D chess moves that when you're moving into conflict, they just become more and more fluent, I guess. And then all of a sudden we know that we're in, we end up being in, in the Third World War. Oh yeah. Slightly off topic, but also with all this going on, Hungary and Belarus have just agreed to build nuclear reactors. Guys, if we're in a state of potential nuclear war, nobody should be building nuclear reactors. We should all be trying to simmer down and stop talking about things that have got the word nuclear in them. So everybody just needs to calm down at the moment, all right? Poland needs to secure its border. We all need to calm down and just relax, and hopefully, common sense will prevail, although we know that it's not gonna, guys, all right? And that's the reality. So it's a short one today, guys, because I've done some updates earlier on today, but I'll be keeping you guys updated tomorrow. And if there's anything that you guys see out there, I'm really interested in you guys that are overseas and what you are seeing. Other countries, especially in Europe, obviously Poland's a key one. But if anybody's in, the Baltic states or the fellowship, one of the fellowship countries, I'd be really interested to hear from you. Let me know what you think in the comments, guys, and I'll see you guys later.